Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: women who dated older men as teenagers that now realize they were predators. What's your story? My mother found older boys to introduce me to when I was 15/16. She would take me to coffee shops or sneak me into bars and charm her way with men in their 2020s only to introduce them to me. I would date them, and she would get chores done around the house that she needed. Painted kitchen, fixed cabinets, roof work, stuff like that. I remember my best friend's mom trying to warn me and explain to me why it was wrong of my mother to let her 15-year-old date 25-year-olds, but I just thought I was really cool. It was until one of them found me online and reached out a few years ago, that I realized what she'd actually been doing all that time. And of course, none of these guys knew what the fuck they were doing, so the house looked like shit anyways. Your mother was whoring you out for cheap labor. Jesus. Do you have a relationship with her today? She still doest see it this way? I'll always resent that. Your situation was so fucked up, but I need to comment cause that last line made me laugh so much. It's my bitterness seeping through, haha. He was my guidance counselor. I didn't realize how creepy he was until he proposed. The whole thing was fucked. What guidance could this man possibly have given to anyone? Fucking weirdo. You must not be familiar with guidance counselors. Even the non-pedo ones couldn't guide anyone out of a paper bag. I dated / had sex with a 28-year-old when I was 13 and thought it was perfectly normal. He always complimented me, bought me stuff, and drove me places when I needed a ride. Looking back now, I can't believe I didn't realize how fucked up that was. To this day he can't find someone to date that's his age. I'm 24 now, from what I heard from Rummus. You didn't realize it was fucked up because you were a child and your brain wasn't developed enough, which is exactly why children can't consent to sex. There's a scumbag in our town that dates all the town's 16-year-olds. My husband got beaten up by him for protecting scumbag's girlfriend from him. She was a classmate of his. Douchebag broke my husband's rib and kicked him on the ground. Luckily he got a short jail sentence and a 3-year restraining order. My husband felt terrible when it happened because we'd just started dating long distance and he thought it sounded like a weird catfishing story. Guy is 35 now and still dating girls who don't know any better. Fuck you, Chris, you asshole. As a father, the comments scare the shit out of me. If you leave your wife, stay involved with your kids. It was my mom's new husband that got to me around 8. Once I hit 12 I was having sex with teenagers and guys in their 2020s in what I now realize was some stupid attempt at taking back control after years of abuse. This isn't even mentioning my crazy abuse of drugs during that time, and my current use of alcohol. Honestly, I just started reading the Gift of Fear book that gets mentioned around Reddit and it's a tough read. But it really does spell out how abusers groom victims. I do recommend it. How are you doing today? I was 11 and he was 23. We didn't date, he had a girlfriend, but he would sext me and send me nudes. Eventually I realized it was strange and blocked him. Didn't tell anyone about it. I sometimes wonder if it's impacted me more than I would care to admit. 11. I had boobs at 11 and got hit on by a disgustingly high number of grown men. I was 15 with a 21-year-old. He hung around youth group and made all us younger girls feel special with his attention. I was shy and quiet, didn't stand out much, but obviously wanted the special attention that all the prettier, peppier girls got. He wasn't interested until he found out my mom worked nights and I was home alone. We ended up getting into a pretty heated argument and split when, 2 weeks in, I still hadn't let him come over because I was terrified of what my mom would do if she knew I'd had anyone over while she was gone. Made all us younger girls feel special with his attention. Male attention is a fucking superpower for girls that age. It's terrible. Glad you stood up to him, but kudos to your mom for raising you right. She ruled with what I thought, at the time, was an unfair iron fist. The older I've grown, the more appreciative I've been. I was 15 and met a 30-year-old who was an older brother of a boy I met in group therapy. He used to tell me how complicated and mature I was, lol, so cliche. I'm now 24 and seeing or interacting with anyone who is 15 makes me sick. I felt so old then, but it's insane now how obvious to me that people that age are children. I feel the same way. I'm in shock whenever I see a 16-year-old because they're just so young. I'm 32 now, same age as the man that took advantage of me. He texted that he was standing outside my middle school waiting for me. I broke out in a cold sweat and I knew I had made a massive mistake. Edit, some comments have been asking for details. I hesitate, because it is shameful and I know in my heart it was wrong and part of it is not my story to tell. But maybe this can be a cautionary story for other young women. I was going down a bad path when I was 14. I looked up to a friend that lived by her own rules. She did whatever she wanted and didn't care about consequences. If I wanted to be in with her and her friends, I couldn't be a baby, I had to do grown-up things. One day my friend came to me and casually told me she had slept with a 19-year-old, and over the course of our conversation it came out that he hadn't used a condom. I got her help, I had to lie to do it, but my friend was angry that the guy wouldn't answer her texts. I told her to give me his number, stupidly thinking I could appeal to him to apologize and do right by her. I was trying to get him to text her back and work things out, but the next thing I know he's asking me for my picture. He wants to know if I'm really who I say I am. I should have stopped there, but I sent him the picture. Next thing I know he starts saying how cute I am while my friend is reading his texts back to me at the same time. The whole thing is surreal. My friend looks like she ready to blow the whole thing over and she swears up and down she's not going to bother about the guy anymore. We let it drop. The guy keeps texting me for the next few days trying to wheedle me and I get this awful idea in my head. If I want to stop being treated like a baby I have to do what my friend does right. She doesn't care about rules or boundaries, so why should I? And I did something terrible. I flirted back at him. Things started to escalate. He would ask for nude pictures, he sent me graphic videos. Then he started planning for us to meet and have sex, always in public places. I was scared and I knew I had gone too far. I tried to blow him off. I thought he would lose interest after that, but that was the day when he texted me that he was at my school. A lot of things from those years fill me with shame, but this is the hardest to deal with because I know I didn't do right by my friend. No matter what our friendship was like, I should have told the truth and gotten her help even if it got her in trouble. It took me a long time to realize we were both being preyed upon and I'm not sure if my friend ever saw it that way. God, what did you do? I filed out behind a huge group of kids and ran home. I never saw him, so I'm not sure where he was. I was 13 with a 22-year-old boyfriend. He made me feel special, grown up, my friends were all jealous, tbh he was hot. A predator but a solid 10/10, we met on Xbox Live, those were the days, and started a relationship. I was in my ugly duckling phase so was drawn into it by the attention. No boys my own age seemed interested in me, I was bullied a bit and it was nice for a good-looking, older boy to think I was pretty. He slowly pressured me into sex, started with pushing me into sexual acts on webcam, to oral, then full sex. He always insisted on filming everything because he loved me so much he wanted to only use our videos as porn. What I wasn't aware of was the fact he was showing all his friends and they made bets on how quickly he could get me to do something else. Whenever I pushed back he always said, if I wanted to date a man I needed to act like a woman, otherwise he would find a girl more willing to have a proper relationship with him. He then tried to pressure me into sleeping with his friends, started with a threesome, him included, then one night he asked me to just sleep with his friend. I saw his friend give him money, which is when I realized this whole thing was a lie and left. Wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I hope you're doing well now. Oh yeah, I'm fine now. Went through a rough patch after this where I relied on sex to prove my self-worth, but snapped out of that at 15 and realized I needed help. A few years of therapy later I was back on track. I relate to this so much. Sex is reversed, I was the younger guy and she was the older woman. Pressuring me into sex, when she would go on an abusive tirade and I would get upset, she would tell me to stop getting emotional, saying I need to be a man. That she needs a man. Yet she was in her early to mid-2020s and I was 15 to 16 years old. At 31, I see it for what it was now. Then. I was a broken teenager who'd been horrifically abused in every way imaginable by almost all older people around me. My parents were my main abusers. A teenage boy, looking for love and acceptance, also sexually driven. She saw that and took advantage of it. We met in a chat room. She lived in another state and she even tried to kidnap me to go live with her as a minor. She really is a sick fuck. On top of it all, she always wanted to have unprotected sex so I could give her a baby. One of the most heartbreaking things was hearing her supposedly cheat on me while on the phone. She did cheat on me and get pregnant by some guy who left her, then tried coming back to me 4 years later. Yeah, she's left me alone. She needs to be in prison. Your story just triggered all that. Thanks for sharing. You did nothing wrong at 13. You did nothing wrong, period. Hope you're better now and that you've moved past this. We're all insecure and wanting acceptance from our peers at that age. He took advantage of that for his predatory inclinations. Feel free to reach out if you ever need to talk. Finally, a therapist would be a good resource to get. They can help you process this.